Okay. There we go. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Ask 3-Bit. We're just gonna chill. Thanks for everyone for dropping by. Got Poison Maniac in here, Decado, dropping by before FSP. Really excited to get to this one. I've been wanting to do one of these for a while, and it's a Monday. I know. I think because of my crazy schedule, I don't know if I could no longer commit to a show per week, as my job just makes it a little less realistic sometimes. So I'm gonna try to pile it on Monday and see how it goes. But going forward, just expect to show more sporadically. There might be two Ask 3-Bits in like 1 week. Maybe there's like three or even four. And then next week there could be not any. But it's just life, unfortunately. Obviously don't want it to work that way, but as I work in the ad agency world, things can get chaotic very quickly working on these big brands. So sometimes as their priorities come first, and bills. Someone says which job. So I finished my work on Fable Xbox, and then after Fable I did some of the dev direct stuff, some of their promotional work, and then after that, just full time at my ad agency job. So I do commercials for a lot of different brands like Holiday Inn and Aflac and Carter's and Home Depot and all these different like brands that we do commercials for. It's interesting. Each one has like their own sets of rules and all that. So that's what I do outside of podcasting. It's fun, but sometimes they can get very chaotic. This week is a little more lax, which is great because the showcase is this week, and I might be able to do like two Ask 3-Bits this week. So we'll see, but just putting that out there early on. There's a couple things I want to get through today. Not a lot of people have seen my full thoughts on like the Xbox showcase. A lot of people haven't got my full thoughts on the PlayStation showcase. There was drama that happened on Twitter. Was it like almost 2 weeks ago now? Maybe a week ago, where the whole cells drama, which I never got to fully explain my side of all that, but maybe I'll touch on it a little bit. I never got to stream about it, I guess. I jumped in some other things about it, but that was insane. But it's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a good week. Everybody who has been following the, like FSP and everything, we've been playing Diablo quite a lot. And I'm excited to get back into it. Also, like it's such a addicting game. Like I've been like hooked. And I normally don't play Diablo like that. It's normally like, I don't know. I played a little bit of 3, and that was really fun. But I never like dove into 1 and 2, and I seen someone like come at me where they were basically saying like, oh, you never played Diablo 1 and 2, and like how could you know? And just like, I don't know, gatekeeping is weird sometimes with games. But I don't know, I never really dove into that genre as much. Like it's just really good. I don't know. It's fun for me. It has a little bit of a learning curve. But it's easy to jump into. It's like it rewards you for knowing more. So when I first jumped in, I had like a build. I was clicking on my skill trees and stuff, and I was just like, this looks fun. This looks cool. I don't know what this curse damage or 5% intelligence and stuff. I still don't know a lot what a lot of that stuff is, but I was like, it looks cool, looks fun. And then I'm like connecting the skill trees, and then over time, like, let me look up some of this stuff, and now I'm having an even better time because I understand what the heck I'm doing. Just a little bit. I still don't 100% understand. Slow-mo says I got blocked for basically telling her to grow up. Good times. Yeah, why don't I just get that out of the way? Because I haven't had an Ask 3-Bit show in a bit, and I meant to actually talk about all that stuff um, last week or the week it happened, essentially. But I was really busy that week, and I just thought it was so ridiculous that even happened. So for those who don't know, there was this streamer. Her name was Hi, I'm Cells, and she months ago, around February or March, I won one of her giveaways Hogwarts for Hogwarts Legacy. It was like me and two other people, I think, and but I didn't know. Like around that time, I just entered several giveaways, and um, I was just trying to win it because I was like, ooh, Hogwarts looks cool, whatever. And then I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna buy it because I couldn't wait any longer. Um, I was like, I had FOMO, I had crazy FOMO, so I bought it, and then I won that giveaway. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll use this code when it's my sister's birthday and give her, because I want to give eventually my dad and my mom and sister's Series S or something. I think it'd be cool to like play with them with certain games. And so I was like, okay, I'll hold on to this code. I kind of forgot about it, and then Sales was just kind of just posting some stuff on her timeline, and it was kind of just like kind of just toxic things. um, and I like to keep my timeline kind of clean, gonna just basically gaming, positive, and so I blocked her. And then a couple, I'll say like a week or two ago, she basically was saying that I blocked her because I stole her code, essentially, is what she was trying to insinuate. It blew up on Twitter. I didn't even know about it um, until I think Steele tagged me in it. He tagged me in the post, and then I was like, "What is this?" Like, I seen all these comments, essentially like supporting her. They were like, "Yeah, like you go, girl," or whatever they were saying, and I was just like, "What? What are you guys talking about?" Looked up and saw that she was basically saying that I stole her code and blocked her, um, almost in that order. And yeah, and Poison Maniac said, "How do you steal a code you won?" Exactly. If it's a giveaway too. There's just so much things that people actually question what she was saying. They would be like, "This there was a giveaway." There was a couple things where I was just like, uh, obviously she's not correct, but um, so all I did was I was like, "You can have the code back." Like I didn't even want to deal with all the drama. I was just like, here, have the code, and I'm gonna go about my business. You can have the code back. I actually didn't even use it. And then drama went on further because she complained to more people that I, what did she say? She said she was mad that I didn't use the code. But I'm glad I didn't use the code because a lot of people was basically just saying was like she couldn't use a narrative that I stole the code, essentially. So that's why I'm glad I didn't use it. But if you really think about it, it didn't make much sense. Um, so gave her back the code to one of her community members. They actually reached out to me. They said like, hey, Cells said I could have the code. I'm like, sure, send me a screenshot that she said it just to make sure, because I didn't want any drama, whatever. Sent that person the code and went about my day. And then the rest is history. And she was in different spaces and stuff about it. Yeah, I normally don't get into that stuff, but that was just insane to me. It's so insane. that I even had to deal with that craziness. But I am glad that people like Slomo and other people was backing me up on that craziness, because I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, yeah, I was just like, going about my day, and I saw that. Um, but yeah, insane week for sure. That was definitely an insane week. Um, Lil says she made no sense. Some of the people in the community use social media to deal with life issues they should rather than go to therapy for. Yeah, it was definitely like, it was just weird to me. That's all it was at the end of the day. I block people for things that, if I'm like, oh, this person is kind of toxic, I'll block them, or if I just don't want them on my timeline. I block people for a variety of reasons, but to make a screenshot of like, this person blocked me, I never understood that mentality. But uh Tony. Is it is it Ome Tony? Is it Omi Tony? Is it But hope you're having a good day too, man. Appreciate it. But anyways, I was even debating like talking about that, but like that was something big that did happen in the last week, and it was all over my Twitter, and I never got to actually say my side of it. But that's essentially what happened. And it honestly, it did feel like that. Soma felt very opportunist. The fact that she was really mad that that because her response was basically something like how, how hard I work for these codes, and stuff like that. Like, how dare you not use it? Like, if you're giving something away, it shouldn't matter how someone uses a code. I've done so many different giveaways, and they could sell it, they could stomp on it. I don't, it's a giveaway. It's I do giveaways because it's just like a celebration of like a game coming out, or it's just like, it's fun. It's part of the community. Um, but yeah, I guess he does it for different reasons. Um, but yeah, that was a big thing that happened last week. Didn't get to say my side of it. That's pretty much my side of it. Appreciate all the people who was kind of just calling her out on that craziness, and love y'all. Louis. Yeah. Hey guys. So that's out the way. Let's talk about some of the showcase. So going into the Xbox showcase, um, my expectations are pretty high. Unlike some streamers where they can discuss leaks and things, yeah, I'm talking about that version. I want to talk about it because I said, I don't even think I said my piece very much. I just basically explained what happened, and people went at people went after her for different reasons. Um, Other than that situation, I guess some people was holding some stuff in from other situations. So I have no idea what that was. Um, but you know, I digress. But yeah, going to the showcase, my expectations are high. And unlike most streamers where they discussed all those leaks and everything, um, it's not as fun for me sometimes, just because I do know some things that are going to happen. Um, I don't know the entire show, so I will be like the rest of you guys, and watching. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of surprises that I don't know about. Um, but I do know some of the show. So overall, I am really excited to see it. I think the part I'm not excited about is the things I can't talk about. Like, that is, it sucks. But that's the industry I'm in, I guess. And it is, that portion is very interesting to me. Just like, because I'm in a podcasting community where we talk about speculation, like fun speculation, right? We talk about things to come, and it's weird being on the other side where I kind of know some of the things to come. Um, but overall, guys, this is such a awesome year for gaming. There's too many games to play right now. My backlog is insane. Um, I'm always looking for the next shiny thing, like ooh shiny, and I don't even complete the last thing. It's starting to pile up a little bit. But goodness, good. It's definitely crazy. Poison Maniac, so you're hyped personally. Yeah, me too. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm definitely hyped. I'm just like I'm a different. Like I don't know everything, so for that I am still hyped. For sure. It's just like there's certain things I can't even talk about because I'm like and NDAs and all that stuff. Um, Mikado, you've been doing good this year and last. I don't bother asking. Oh, appreciate it. If you're talking about me. Um, the PlayStation Showcase. I'll get I'll get into that for sure because I don't think people saw my thoughts on that. But overall, super excited for the Xbox Game Showcase. There are things they're teasing and yeah, it's a good year. I think Xbox has been put in a unique situation where they have to deliver more than PlayStation on a consistent basis. It's not fair, but life is not fair. They have to deliver more than PlayStation on like a consistent basis and for people to actually invest in their ecosystem because a lot of people are like they see all these games that Xbox is developing, um, and they're like those games don't exist. They have to like literally see it, which I get because a lot of people don't trust Xbox. Um, so Xbox just has to show people like, bam, here's this title, bam, here's this title, boom, and show gameplay, and get people excited. That's all. That's their job for this showcase. They, even if they do more than PlayStation, um, they have to do even a little bit more after that, just because it's not fair. Um, and for me personally, if they just do more than PlayStation, I'll be happy. But I think they just have a little bit of a higher expectation on them because of previous generations and stuff. Slomo says, "Do you think it'll be more first party shown than third party?" Yes, yeah, I do. Not to say there won't be any third party. I think there will be some third party. I just thought the Sony showcase was too much. They really relied on the show third party. Like it's okay to have some third party. I think the impact of third party is different for Xbox because those third party more likely is going to be on Game Pass. So when I see a third party at an Xbox showcase, I'm like, it has a little bit more of an impact on me because I'm like, cool, I could play that on Game Pass. So yeah, I think that's why it matters more to have third to have if there was third party games, then most likely it would be on Game Pass. It's just a little bit more of a oomph than a game that's everywhere. Um, Someone says, "Wow, that would be a lot of first party content for 2 hours." Yeah. If you're saying more than PlayStation, obviously there would be more than PlayStation's show, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be a good mix. If I were to was to guess, maybe like 70% first party and the rest third, maybe. Um, but we'll see. I don't know the whole showcase, but I do know some things are coming. It's gonna be cool. Ome Tony says, when Xbox announces a crazy tax reboot, do you think they'll be first party yet? The Sega situation is really interesting. That's a studio they seem to have a pretty good um, relationship with. Like the fact that it reminds me of what they should do with Square. I'll get to that in a second, but like Sega, the fact that like the Persona games on there, it's like it's building up trust where people are willing to check out certain games. Like I checked out Persona and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I checked out some other Sega games, like the Yakuza games. That's what it takes, honestly, for Square Enix. For me, I I'm not on Square Enix's side lately, but I feel like if they start investing in the Xbox ecosystem, it builds up trust where people are like, I can play most of your games on the platform. I feel like that's the big issue with Square Enix is that people can't really rely. You can't semi invest and be like, here is Final Fantasy 3, and then you don't put 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on there. It's like if someone invests in that one, you're just like, okay, that was pretty cool. What about the next one? I really enjoyed this Final Fantasy. What about the next one? It's not there. And then they complain that, you know, it's missing. Oh, or they complain that it didn't do as well. I didn't confirm anything, Tony. I just think it's just, it'll be cool. You say, is there any game or comic IP that you like to collect physical things for? That's a good question. Maybe anything like Spider-Man or Halo. There's been some Halo comic books, believe it or not, from, was it Marvel? I think Marvel had a series. I'm not. I'll look that up, but I'm pretty sure Marvel had a series with Master Chief. I had a couple of the comic books. I have a bunch of Halo physical stuff. Like I have the legendary statue, with the helmet, and then I had the Reach statues with the Noble team. Yeah, love all that physical stuff. But normally, let me tell you, I don't buy physical games anymore. It's just I'm too lazy to get up, click click on the Xbox thing, open up the disc tray, take it out, put it in, and the disc doesn't even really use the data from the disc anymore. It's just there as like as your license. Like, oh, I have this game. So there's just a little bit more benefits to me just having it digital. Maybe that's just the next gen. It's kind of sad because there is like a past love, I guess, for physical games when you blew it on a tray and you put it in. You know, that's cool, but digital is just a lot more easier to play games on. I don't know. It's kind of sad, but it's just, it's just the way it is nowadays. Some will say I've been all digital since 2016. Yeah, I haven't bought a physical game in a long time. It's been a long time since I bought a physical game. We Joe said, is it Louis Joe's, or I don't want to say your name wrong. Louis Joe's, Jose. So any chance of Xbox Global Publishing announcing a new game? I don't know. I can't talk. Here's the thing, I can't talk about specific things because yeah, I can't talk about specific things. I talk about it in a generality. Because then I have a terrible poker face. I have yeah. So I try to talk about things in a general sense of like Xbox as a brand, you know. Um, Decado says, I'm sure Capcom is loving how well their netcode is running on Azure right now. Yeah, Capcom is interesting. The fact that they've gone from like not having a lot of studios, or not studios, they a lot of like really good games, to having like plethora of awesome games is that's how you do it. They start like just remastering all their old games, making sure it was quality and hit, and now they're just like a very good studio again. There was a period, it was a dark period where Capcom was not doing very well, in my opinion. It was like kind of sucking for a little bit, and then they're just hidden with really good games. I'm trying to debate whether I should pick up Street Fighter. I've never been a huge Street Fighter person besides Street Fighter 2 and a little bit of 3. Um yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and like I've never been a huge Street Fighter person. I've always been huge with like Dead or Alive, Tekken, those like just the impact of like their punches. It's like small, but it means a lot. Um, Playing that. Catch you a bit later. Gotta get player forced to sleep. Good night, man. Good night, man. Right after this show, there will be FSP. We'll be jumping in, talking, speculating some awesome things. So this is almost like the pre-show. So appreciate everybody for dropping by. HTK, Decado, Louis, Jose. Okay, Jose. Um, Decado, Zomo. Appreciate you guys for dropping by. No worries, through it. Just fun to speculate. Yeah, it is really fun to speculate. Some people get mad at people for speculating. I remember there was this weird moment where people was mad at Mav for speculating. I'm like, bro, it's literally in his name. Like it's called fun speculation. You don't want him to speculate because it's like, oh, they would, this studio would never do that. Like, how dare you? Like, you're being unrealistic. You suck. You know, it's just like, it's fun. Like, what is the problem? I feel like people make up problems on this app sometimes. Like it's not that serious. It's just fun. It's like if I was in a room with a bunch of gamers and we talk about what could happen with these studios, like, oh, like what is Sega up to? Maybe they'll get acquired one day, or I know it's just fun to talk about that stuff because we're all gamers. We love talking about games and the possibilities, and we're all nerds for the most part. We all love to game. We all love talking about games, possibilities. So it is what it is. You know, no one's more special than the other person. You know. Poison Maniac says, "I want your opinion on do I pick up Dead Island or Diablo 4?" Ooh, I will say with Diablo 4, I did not expect to like the game as much as I do. I played a little bit of Diablo 3, and there is a learning curve. So there is a bit of a learning curve, but it's fun to jump into if you do have a group of people to play with, where they can answer some questions. It makes it even more fun. But if you don't have that group, you're just running in solo, or if you play games similar to Diablo, I think you will really enjoy it. If you don't have time and you are just basically like on more of the casual side right now where you don't really want to pay attention, you just want to kill things, not worry about like the statistics of your build and stuff like that, then I would play Dead Island. But if you are in for a more deep experience where you're learning your character, you're going through different levels, you're kind of learning a little bit, and the cutscenes for Diablo are also freaking amazing. So if you want more of a deep game, I would get Diablo 4. If you want more of a casual game where you're just like killing zombies, then yeah, I would just do Dead Island 2. Or not both. Ooh, I know money. I'm sure Diablo 4 will be in Game Pass either by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So you could wait theoretically if you want to wait that long. I do think it'll be in Game Pass. Tony says, I just saw Shooting Star. Got to bring back Fun Pop. Yeah, I do miss Fun Pop. That was like, uh, um, that was a fun time talking about Fun Pop. We got to talk. I think it was just why I liked Fun Pop so much is we got to nerd out about movies. Like for example, I just saw Spider Verse, and there is currently no podcast besides this one that I'm on right now to nerd out about Spider Verse. That was such an amazing movie. To me, that movie was a 10, and that's how you do it. That's how you do a sequel. That was such a good movie. I don't know if anyone here has seen Spider Verse, but I recommend. It was like really good. I'm an animator, so I look out whenever I'm watching a movie. Sometimes I see it differently. I'm just like, oh, they didn't do the effects right, or they used this intro in a template, or um, they should have had more shadows here. I don't know. I analyze it, and for that movie, I was just so overwhelmed with how amazing the visuals were, and the pacing of the story and how funny it was that I was like, dang, this is a good movie. So Fun Pop, if for those who don't know, it was a previous it was a live show we used to do on FSP every week, and or I say FSP, Fun Speculation Channel, um, where we just talked about comics and we talked about movies like Marvel and DC every single week. Maybe I'll just talk about it on my show. You guys can hear my thoughts. Starfield is going to be amazing. Yes, Starfield is going to be amazing. Um, yeah, I won't say anything about that. Starfield will be great though. I think the showcase is going to show finally if the game is the full 60. I do think it is 60. Um, and it's just one of those games, right? I feel like a lot of people who are saying like I don't know about Starfield and stuff. To me, I kind of get that mentality, but just there isn't a lot of games like Bethesda games. Like they're just special. The way they structure their missions for like their games is very open ended to the point where you can kind of do whatever you want. People will have different experiences in a lot of Bethesda games. Like my version of playing Skyrim is different from your version of playing Skyrim from beginning to end, just because there's so many different paths to get to the same place. Um, yeah, to me that just makes it special. That's what I'm looking forward to in Starfield. Is if it's like Skyrim in space, I'm in. That's all I need to know. But some people, I guess, they need to see everything, which I understand. I understand. This is their A team though. This is the people who worked on Skyrim. They're working on this, um, and it's one of my most anticipated games. Honestly, I did not know Diablo. I would love Diablo as much as I do, but I do, and that was also a surprise for me. I really like Diablo. Silence this on my phone and get messages. All right, cool. I haven't seen the second movie, but Into the Spider Verse is one of my kids' favorite movies. I'll see it eventually. Looking forward to the new Star Trek: Strange New World. I've been playing the Star Trek game. I would be playing it more if it wasn't for Diablo. But that game was really cool. It actually makes me interested in the Star Trek universe. I'm just kind of overwhelmed. I don't even know where to begin. I did watch a little bit of the older ones with Patrick Stewart, and I had like the old VHS tapes from my dad, and he had a bunch of different Star Trek movies. I remember there was one Star Trek movie with Tom Hardy. He was the villain, and I remember a couple other ones. But if you were to ask me anything Star Trek lore, I couldn't tell you a single thing. So I would love to like. That is one universe I'm interested in. Actually, like the difference between Star Trek for me and Star Wars. Star Wars is very much it's fun surface levels, fun casually. You got lightsabers, you got freaking stormtroopers and laser blasts and stuff like that. The older Star Wars movies were political kind of, and then Star Trek for me was always about the relationships um, between the crew and trust and understanding, and yeah, it was a little bit different. It was very much more about the people they were with than like the whole freaking world. But that's just how I perceive Star Trek. I haven't dove into it that much. Bethesda is one of the rare studios to still have the old staff to this day. Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't get. The same people who were working on yeah, on Starfield, worked on Skyrim. It's the same team. Um, and yeah, I think Starfield's gonna be special for sure. Next Generation is my favorite, and all the older movies are good. I just take the new shows and movies as is. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Like I know some people. The something I noticed. I did work on a Star Trek. It was like a Star Trek fan film. Um, you guys could look it up. So, fun fact about it. All right, so I was working on a Star Trek fan film. It was being directed by Paul Jenkins, who's a good friend of mine. Um, I was working on a comedy portion of this fan film. We were reusing footage from this. Anyways, uh, the fan film got sued by CBS um, for like millions of dollars, and because this fan film went on Kickstarter, um, and it got like millions, and then CBS wanted a portion of that money. They weren't happy that a fan film was getting that much money, and they worked out a deal that they couldn't release a whole movie, but they could separate it into individual episodes. I think that was the result of that lawsuit. Um, and the director just ended up being a huge scumbag. To be honest, but not Paul. Paul's great. So not the director, the guy who's putting it all together. I think it was called Star Trek. I don't know. Just look up Star Trek fan film, like and look up CBS, and you'll know which one is the one I was starting to work on. A lot of crazy drama behind the scenes in that one, but that's my extent of Star Trek knowledge. But anyways, let's talk about the showcase. So the PlayStation showcase. Um, if you guys watched us live, the PlayStation showcase, we had a lot of like pretty good expectations beforehand. We were like, I'm gonna see all these games coming out of these studios. Like, what is Bend Studio working on? What is Naughty Dog? It's been a long time. Where the heck is Factions? They announced it almost 4 something years ago. Where are all these other studios? Like, what are they working on? Is it possible that a Horizon DLC is there, or some multiplayer version? I don't know. Just something to ultimately surprise us. Because something I didn't really realize beforehand, is really when I started thinking about it, was I believe it's the 2016 show. If you guys go back and watch Sony's E3 from like 2016, they had like Last Guardian. I was like, hey, here's the release date. Here is Detroit Become Human. Here's this game. It looks amazing. Here's God of War. this game is coming out. Here's gameplay for God of War. Here's gameplay for Detroit Become Human. And they just kept dropping like games after games, and it was such a great show that is when people think about PlayStation and think about the premium experience and like a showcase, what it's supposed to be, it was pretty much modeled from that show, at least on the Sony side. And so when they said this is a PlayStation showcase, um, that's what I was expecting. That's what a lot of people was expecting. Um, that showcase was impressive back in 2016. So my expectations, for example, for a summer Games Fest show is different from a Sony showcase. If it's called a Sony showcase, I'm expecting games coming from Sony. A majority, if not a majority, like at least the major ones from like the studios we care about. Um, not so not necessarily other studios like filling up this show, because frankly I could see other games at other third party shows coming from Keeley, and that's why I had to give the show like just such a low score. It was a 4 out of 10 for me. Honestly, might even drop it to a 3 for barely showing any gameplay coming from their studios. um Taking out Sony from Sony Showcase, if it was a showcase, showed some pretty good games I'm looking forward to, right? I think that's where people get a little antsy about. But it's the same thing. I have expectations about an Xbox showcase where I'm expecting Xbox games at an Xbox showcase. There's certain games I'm expecting, and if it doesn't meet a certain threshold, I'm going to criticize them for it, like I have with the 12-month thing. Um, Go watch our reactions if you guys are interested for the 12-month show. We were all just like, why did you guys restrict yourselves to this 12-month? That just seems like it's going to be a bad idea in the future. And then it ended up being a bad idea. It's just like, I get you want to show people games that are coming out soon, but for me, honestly, I just want to see. Yes, let's get both. Let's see the games that are coming out soon, but also let's see what the heck your studios are working on. Show me something. I like to see um, a good range of content and what your studios are working on, and show me the vision for what Xbox is. Just like the same thing for Sony. Show me you guys are the top, right? Actually, Nintendo is in a lot of ways in sales, but for the sake of argument, and the CMA and all this different stuff, Sony, you are the top. Show me why you're the top. Show me game after game after game from your studios, um, and show me, why you're the top. Essentially, you guys kill it with these movie-like interactive experiences, and we barely saw that at this show. There's a CGI trailer where we didn't really understand what the game was. Like, I'm in the camp where I think it's fine to show a CGI trailer. I know like some people are like, oh, CGI trailers. I think it's fine to show a CGI trailer, but also I would rather see gameplay. But if you do show a CGI trailer, give me an idea for what the heck the game is. Because a lot of those games, I'm like, I watched the CGI trailer, saw like a bunch of cool effects and all and everything, and I still don't know what the heck the game was. The title came up, I'm just like, okay, people have to somewhat understand what you're watching. Like, that's the point. If you're ever going to do a CGI trailer, but we're also in the stage where we don't really need CGI trailers. We're like, technology wise, a lot of CGI in games, like, just think about like the years of CGI from like all these other studios, like the old Dead Island trailer and things like that. Um, we're at a stage where games and CGI are very close, right? Especially with the technology in UE5. So if I was being honest, I don't even think we need CGI trailers anymore. Um, but as someone who works in the field and understands like the marketing aspect, it's good um marketing wise to have like the brand identity of what this game is. Believe it or not. I'm like, what? But marketing wise it's decent. At the same time, it's just better to show gameplay and our engines and where we have moved with technology is already so close to CGI. It's you don't even need CGI really. If you're gonna have CGI, okay, show us somewhat what the game will be like. Give us a vision. Give us what could be in the game. Just somewhat of a vision. And I feel like a lot of the games at the Sony showcase, I walked away. I'm just like, I don't know what the heck that was. I think that was the problem. Not so Sony, the games that they did show, the games that they did have, um, were all CGI. The Spider-Man, we all was expecting Spider-Man to be there, and they already showed Spider-Man. So it was just like such a disappointing show for me and for a lot of Sony fans. Um, so it is what it is. It was a bad show for me. Like I can't believe this is like it's so weird to me. They came out of that show and was like, this is a great idea to release. Let's put out the date and put out everything. It's just crazy to me. Like as someone like I worked on the dev direct, right? And we had just had a process of review and review. We looked at the show and like, is this good? Is this what people want to see? Let's fine tune it more, make sure that the flow of the show works, make sure that what we're doing, let's show Hi-Fi Rush, let's show Forza, let's should this go first, should this go second, let's show some gameplay, let's surprise some people with a drop. Like that's what we did with the dev direct. And um I don't know if that was done with the Sony showcase, like or maybe it was, I don't know. I was behind the scenes with the dev direct, but I don't know what Sony's process is for making showcases. But I was disappointed. I was definitely disappointed for Sony. Like I'm putting myself in a category where I'm looking, if it's a Sony showcase, I'm thinking about why should I invest in the Sony ecosystem? The same way that people are going to watch the Xbox showcase and like, why should I invest in the Xbox ecosystem? Like that's showcases for me. you know, it's like getting excited for that ecosystem. Otherwise, it's just like, why go to an Xbox showcase? For example, if I had an Xbox showcase and I'm like, let's just show third party, and none of those games are coming in Game Pass, and maybe at the end we'll show like Halo. You guys think that would be a good show? Knowing that that game is going on PlayStation, it's going on Switch, it's going on my PC, it's going on my Stadia. It's just like, what was the point of having a showcase where you just so you could slap your name on it? Just have Xbox, And I get those games are coming to your platform. That's where I'm like, I get the point of third party games, but if it's an Xbox showcase, show what Xbox is working on, and then maybe we could talk about some third party games. Again, Xbox is in a unique position because they have Game Pass, and a lot of those third party games, it has more of an impact. So when I do see a third party game on Xbox, I'm like, okay, cool. This will probably be on Game Pass. Bam. But I just don't get the mentality. If you're a Sony, just also imagine this: you're Nintendo. You're having the Nintendo Dev or the Nintendo Direct. That's what it's called, right? I'm having the Nintendo Direct. Imagine if they had a Nintendo Direct and they didn't show any Nintendo games. Maybe at the end. What is the point of it being called Nintendo Direct? Just to show the games that are coming to your platform? Eh, you know, people when they watch a Nintendo Direct, they're expecting a Nintendo property. They're expecting a Mario. They are expecting a Metroid. They're expecting a Zelda. There are certain expectations from all the showcases that people should have. Sony should expect some some pretty heavy first party, maybe like Twisted Metal or whatever. From Xbox, you got your Fables and different games like that you expect to see. It's just that should just be a baseline, of what you should expect at an Xbox showcase, at a PlayStation showcase, at a Nintendo showcase. You expect Nintendo games for a Nintendo showcase. You expect PlayStation games for a PlayStation showcase. I shouldn't have most 80% of the show be third party. That's just that you might as well just go to a Keighley show. Keighley show's third party. What is the difference between a Keighley show and a Sony show at that point if you're just showing third party? East West says, how excited are you for the show? What are you most excited to see? Do you think that the show will live up to the hype? I am very excited for the show. It's I I wish I could talk about the show more, but my expectations are high. I'm excited to see what a lot of studios are working on. Um, and I think Xbox has put themselves in such a weird position where they have to almost over deliver, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they uh come out on top and prove to people why people should invest in Xbox. I know it. A lot of people on FSP and Fun Speculation, a lot of people know that they've been investing in all of these different studios, all these different games over time. Unfortunately, they bought all these studios, right? This is the position Xbox is in. They bought all these studios. A lot of the studios they bought didn't have the benefit of becoming first party. So you didn't see the effect of the studios they bought. So they bought all these studios. You're like, oh, those games are still on every platform. You got Deathloop only on PlayStation. You got Outer Worlds on every platform. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. They bought Ninja Theory, Hellblade's taking a bit to come out. So you didn't really see the benefit of a lot of the studios they bought up until starting now. So that's where a lot of people are still in doubt about Xbox. But that's where they are going to start rippling people and showing the effect of what they've been working on for so long. And the good news is once it starts, I don't see it stopping for quite some time because that's the position they put themselves in. The bad thing is in the short term, people are not going to believe them. So they just have to show people. You have to show people like, bam, here's a really good game. Here's a really good game. Here's a really good, and they have to just keep doing that. And showing people. That's all it is. Sony's in the position where they are starting to see the landscape of where the industry is headed, and they are seem to be scared. Honestly, with how I'm saying that not as a fanboy or whatever, but just the way they've been reacting with the CMA case, how they got gamers to try and stop this Activision deal, with all their game lineups now basically being games as a service games. Um, it's a couple of development things. Um, Either way, I think Sony will be fine. A lot of people are invested in their ecosystem, but you just sometimes have to wonder, like, Xbox has more users in on Xbox Live, more concurrent users than PlayStation, and PlayStation is the bigger user base. Is the bigger like, there's more people who own a PlayStation than they do with the Xbox, but Xbox has more subscribers, and that's been their goal all along. Xbox doesn't really care where you invest as long as you're in the ecosystem, and PlayStation really cares about that you stay within their ecosystem for years, and this is the way to play. And now they're starting to branch out, so it's a different mentality for both companies. Microsoft has been sort of starting that trend. Like, I remember how people was so irritated, and how weird it was for people that Xbox was starting to branch out to PC. Like, if you guys go back to when they started doing that, people was just like, what? This is wrong. Like, games should only be on consoles and all that. Now it's the norm because they set it up to be the norm. But Xbox has just basically been changing the landscape, changing people's mentalities towards things. And it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. Now PlayStation's starting to do that as well. But yeah, that brings me to the exclusives thing. Exclusives don't matter, right? I think Colin said this on Iron Lord's show. And I was actually in chat when he was talking about this, and I was like, "Oh wow, did he just say that?" It's weird to me that he said that. Not too weird. I do think, while he is a journalist, I do think he's heavily favoring Sony. As most of the media is, honestly. Most of the media very heavily favors Sony. It is what it is. But when you said Xbox or exclusives don't matter, all you guys have to do really to see if that statement is true is look at his older shows where he says exclusives do matter. Like, that's literally all it takes, right? Where PlayStation has seeped into their heads for a while that only on PlayStation, right? There's a reason why they always say only on PlayStation. This is how you share your games. You can only get these games within our ecosystem. It's such a goalpost move, in my opinion. Where they're starting to see where Sony is going as a company, which is games as a service, right? And games as a service usually requires you to be in a more expanded ecosystem than your own. So people are starting to see that and be like, wow, we might get less just PlayStation 5 games. We might start seeing PlayStation 5 and PC games. So they're starting to start the narrative where it's just like, exclusives don't matter, even though for years it really doesn't take much research to go into Colin Moriarty's previous history just to see how much he talks about exclusives and how they do matter, to see that he's just moving the goalposts. Like, it doesn't take much for me to even combat that exclusives don't matter argument. And and Reggie Lee said that with a straight face. I was just shook it a little bit. I was like, really? Really? Is this what we're doing now? Was the showcase that bad where people are starting to come up with narrative. I was wondering what narratives a lot of Sony fans were gonna come up with. Sony fanboys. Here's the difference for me, and I was gonna clarify this. Fanboy is when you will protect something no matter what the brand does, right? A fan is just like, oh yeah, I like them, but you know, if they freaking burn my house down, I'm not gonna like them, you know. Uh, yeah. That's the difference to me. If you're a fan of something, you're not afraid to criticize it. You won't come up with reasons why they uh burned the house down, you know, all that different stuff. But you know, it is what it is. I honestly think it doesn't take much to see a fanboy's history of them saying exclusives matter to even combat that. To me, I think in the grand scheme of things, business wise, it matters. If you want people to come to your ecosystem, then yeah, it matters. Um, you know, but to say that exclusives don't matter is kind of ridiculous after years of him saying they do matter. Is all I'm saying. Like it's such a goalpost move. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, to me they matter. Um, and it's why we've been hard on Xbox all these years. They're like, where's the games? Um, you know, I think in terms of business of why I should invest in a PlayStation, it matters. Like there's certain reasons why I even bought a PS4. I was like, wow, Last of Us looks amazing. I'm going to go out and buy a PS4. It was an exclusive. For Xbox, oh wow, Halo, this game looks great. Let me buy an Xbox. In that case, they matter. You know, they matter. Now, the gaming industry is headed in a way where they are opening up their ecosystems because Sony is starting to go in the games as service route as Xbox has already sort of expanded their ecosystem to benefit from because they've realized like, hey, we could get a lot of users and it's like a subscription base, so we could just get the money, not necessarily focus on hardcore console sales. We could get it on the back end of concurrent money revenue, and you know, and make even more money than just a console sale. Because Xbox is losing money on console sales. PlayStation was initially losing money, but they've put like cheaper parts in their PlayStation to sort of offset that. Now I think they are making a profit on their console sales. So you know, interesting, very interesting. But I just think the business models and where the console landscape has gone is in order to be successful, they are seeing that expanding their ecosystems to PC, um, doing a games as a service games. Why does Sony want to do a games as a service games? Like they want to do that because you get that reoccurring revenue, right? It's like the business model. If you think about the business model for Sony, they are hard pressed on getting those console sales. Like we sold this amount of PS5s, you know. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter as much for Xbox. It matters, but the way they've set up there's two different ways of doing business. Sony's like trying to make a lot of money on the hardware front, where Xbox is making a lot of money on the services front, on Xbox Live and Game Pass, and making sure people stay within Game Pass so they can keep getting that reoccurring revenue. They're two different streams. Not to say Sony doesn't have PS Plus and all that, but if you compare Xbox Live to PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live has way more users. Um, yeah, it is what it is. We have Mav dropping in the chat. What's good? This is basically the pre-show for FSP, so be sure if you guys are in this, drop by for the after show on FSP. It's gonna be a good show. There's just a lot to be excited about, you guys. Hey Kate, use my full name. Hi, Amario. We got still Poison Maniac in here. Appreciate Poison. You guys, he's been keeping me accountable, so I appreciate Poison. He's like, "Where's my Ask 3-Bit show?" And I'm just like, "Dang, right, I got to stream today or stream this day or whatever. Make sure I do it." So appreciate you, Poison, keeping my toes to the fire. Mav, they even paid for the name on the stage. They are setting the stage up. Yeah, there's a lot of he says a lot to be excited about, like Xbox game trash. Here's the thing. That was funny. There was I posted on my Twitter like, "Oh, I'm really excited about the showcase, yada yada," and I was looking up a cool GIF, because I'm not saying GIF. It's not the right way to say it. It's always GIF. And I saw a GIF of like Phil Spencer pointing at Todd, just like that, And I remember that in an interview where he's basically talking. I think he was talking about Indiana Jones or something. That's all I saw. It was like, when you select a GIF, it's like this small. You don't fully see the whole thing, and you just press tweet or whatever. And then I get a tweet from Pong. He was like, he was saying like, "Now you saying Xbox games are trash? Like, are you okay?" I'm like, "What? Like, I didn't know what you were talking about." And then I look at the tweet, and then at the bottom of the tweet, which I didn't see, it says like a little logo that says Xbox game trash, or game. Yeah, it says like Xbox game trash, and I was like, "What?" I was cracking up because prior, I went to a Twitter space for, it was literally like a minute or two, just because I saw the title. It said Street Fighter's sales are 70% on PlayStation and like 17 something percent on Xbox or something like that. So I went in there and I was basically saying like, bros, you guys keep using UK physical box sales as your like hooray chart for PlayStation. Like I never understood that. Like people keep using the UK physical box sales to show why PlayStation is doing so well. Not to say that PlayStation doesn't outsell Xbox games, but it's just kind of disingenuous to keep using physical UK box sales when digital is not only is digital the metric you should be looking at, but it's also how most gamers buy games nowadays. And also in the market that you're in, the UK, the Xbox doesn't even sell well there to begin with, so it's going to be even more exacerbated. You use the physical box sales, which is a metric that is not completely accurate to how gamers buy games nowadays. And then you use the UK, like Xbox does not sell well there to begin with, so you're going to use that as the metric for a generality of Street Fighter 70%, Xbox like 17. I just had to say something. I was just like, look, bros, you guys are using UK physical box sales. It was J Dub, I think. It was J Dub, and he dropped in there. I was like, you guys are using UK box sales. You're not using digital sales. UK makes up for 90% of digital game sales. So, like, that's a more accurate measure. So if you're going to say well, is physical still matter? Like 90% of digital games in the UK It sells on digital. 90% of the sales. So taking the account into that metric, and you're still going to use physical box sales, is just like, bro, it's just super disingenuous. So I said that, I left, and then someone screenshot that I was in there, and then I was like, oh, whatever. Um, yes, Kate did such a great job. She always kills it with the thumbnails. It's crazy. It is insane. I don't know. Like, what is your schedule, Kate? Like, do you wake up and Mav is like, "Hey, we got a show today, and I'm gonna need a thumbnail." Like, how does that work? Because you have to do a thumbnail for FSP, for PM and the PM, for Xbox Ultimate, and then like not Mavcast, but the occasional other shows he does. Like, it's sick. You do a lot of awesome thumbnails. Let's see. Decado says I want to see retention per platform for Diablo in 2 months. There's a couple things I want to see on Diablo 4. Well, just very little things. I want to see like the clan. Like we created a clan on Diablo. I want to see like if I get special awards, if I defeat a boss, it benefits all of us somehow. Like maybe some XP, like 10 XP or something, or I don't know, just something to reward people for being in a clan. It doesn't have to be like huge, but I think that would be pretty cool. Right now, you're just in a clan, and it just helps you look at other people doing stuff. Caitlin said, I have to literally remind him to send me thumbnail info. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I always figured because you do so much so many different thumbnails, and then you like kill it so quick. We're talking about your thumbnails, Mav. I was like, how does Mav approach Kate when he's like he wants a thumbnail? Is it a text? Is he just like, hey Kate, I need a FSP's like in 5 hours. I need a thumbnail. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, you got FSP, PM and the PM, Xbox Ultimate, and then we do our showcases. So it's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 to even 5 different thumbnails. That's crazy. I'm lazy with this show. Like, it's the same thumbnail. Obviously, it's just Ask 3-bit. But I don't know. Maybe might have to step up my game. Maybe for each episode, do like a like a Dreamcast guy. I'll be like, oh, for each thumbnail, something like that. What do you guys think? Should I do that? Let's see. All right. Talked about what I want to talk about. You guys heard my things on Xbox Showcase. I think the PlayStation Showcase was trash. Go back, figure out why. I will not be having this show every week. But there might be multiple Ask 3-bits in a week. It's just, I just might do it more sporadically. You guys said no Dreamcast guy. Okay, no Dreamcast guy. I could do it though. I could be like, oh, that'd be my thumbnail, and I'll do something clickbaity like, Xbox is trash. Click this video to see why. No, not feeling it. All right, maybe I won't do it. Speculator says 10 XP would have to kill 20,000 bosses. Well, I don't want to put too high of XP because people will definitely abuse clan systems, but maybe 10 is too low. Maybe like 3,000 or something, or maybe if it's too high, I just feel like people would abuse it, and you get like 1,000 people in a clan, and all you have to do is stand there and you rank up. That's what I'm thinking about, or what they probably have thought about too. But they should reward people somehow, like maybe just lesser XP or something. Uh, Mav says I tell her something stupid on Twitter DMs. She works in Reddit. Yeah, I figure sometimes. I remember you was saying with one of the thumbnails, you're like, I didn't tell her what to do, but she just went with it. Um, Xbox is shutting down. There's a clickbait headline. Yeah, yeah. Back from Dead says if I wanted clickbait, I'd watch mainstream channels like IGN. Yeah, exactly. Well, IGN, I guess they're pretty clickbaity. They're more so just like, are they clickbaity? I feel like a lot of like just like content creators like Dreamcast are pretty clickbaity. I guess IGN's pretty clickbaity. Yeah. I don't always agree with IGN's assessment of things, but they got some people in there like Destin. I like Destin. Ryan. I feel like Ryan just goes with the flow of what he thinks PlayStation people will like. Honestly, which is weird because I do I used to really enjoy Ryan's shows. I just think after a while he just has a just feels like he doesn't really have an opinion. I don't know. It's just weird. Poison Maniac said, "Are you going to get slash have guests?" I did want to have Mav on here. I feel like that would be kind of fun. For Mav to jump on an Ask 3-bit. I actually talked to Mav about having this sort of show with very special guest. Um, it's just all about timing, I guess. we and everybody on Fun Speculation, we're all really close, and we do a lot of shows with each other. It's just all about time, I guess. Of if Mav is free, maybe I'll get like I'll get someone on one of these episodes. That's a good idea. I think the why I wanted to start doing S3-bit was when I do a podcast. There's multiple people on the panel, right? And we're all just jumping off of each other. Sometimes maybe someone will cut me off and I forgot what I was going to say, and then they finally come back to me and I forgot and it doesn't come out as clear. I can just kind of just flow on an S3-bit and just, you know, this ride with my thoughts. Um, Especially because I feel like I have such ADHD with my thoughts sometimes and wanting to jump to different topics. It kind of works out. But yeah, I would love to have a guest on here. In a previous stream, you mentioned that Everwild team you'd like to see pressured by Microsoft leadership. Do you think it'll be on the show? I actually don't know, but after showing the trailer so long ago, yeah, they probably should have like what the heck is that game? My whole thing, and I said this even before all the Redfall things. I said Xbox needs to um Xbox needs to pressure their teams. And I mentioned the Lion's Head interview as my point because they back in the day with Fable, the old Fable, they ran into a problem where they kept over managing. They kept telling them what to do and how to make the game and all this different stuff. And then they told other teams like Rare, like, look, Rare, we know you've done great stuff with Banjo and stuff in the past, but we want you to make Connect games now. We bought you. We can tell you what to do. Make Connectimals and all this different stuff. So back then they had a problem of over managing their studios to the point where their DNA as a company could not thrive, um, which was a problem, and they talked about it pretty extensively in the interview. But now they've run into a problem where they're like, okay, we've learned our lesson. We are going to let the studios do what they want. so they can just kind of thrive. Now they run into a problem of under managing the studio. I will personally say I did not see that as a problem at playgrounds. At playground um, for Fable, I didn't see that as a problem. It seemed to be pretty good development, just speaking from my experience. But it still looked like a problem with Redfall and some other things. So I would, and with Everwild, the reason why I mentioned Everwild East West was the fact that there was reports in the game basically saying that they don't know what the heck the game is. I'm like, who's gonna know? You guys are the creators. Who am I gonna ask? Like, what is Everwild to the Everwild creators? So it's a balance. I feel like something they'll need to figure out over time. Um, Not over managing the studio to the point where they can't thrive through their DNA as a studio, but not underdoing it either. So, and Mav said you'll do it. Okay, whenever. Okay, so maybe next Ask 3-bit or the one after, we'll have Mav on and we'll just talk about whatever's coming up. There's a lot of shows coming up this week, so probably not this week. Or is it this week? No, next week. I mean, for the showcase. But yeah, that'll be a fun time. Got Destin is better as solo. Yeah, I think so too. He's yeah, I just like Destin. Like I have a big problem with a lot of mainstream media in how they portray Xbox in such a negative light to the point where it's so obvious what they're doing. That's my main problem. Um, like place I get it. PlayStation is the light. It is the where most people tend to play as a huge user base. A lot of people love PlayStation, but when I keep seeing like where PlayStation obviously does something wrong, and then in their article they phrase it in a way where it's still positive, and where Xbox will do the same thing, and it's such a negative headline. It's just kind of just annoying sometimes. So I prefer listening to people's thoughts on it on a podcast, um, and it's just much. It's just certain frames of conversation where it's easier to get people's thoughts, and it's more beneficial. Like I remember I read this article, not to bore you guys. Remember I read this article on presidential debates and over the years how it's changed and how our language as a culture has changed, and um, as a society how we communicate differently. So it turned from a really respectful thing between two presidential candidates and why you should vote for them essentially to basically a shouting match between both, and you're stupid and it's entertaining, everyone's like clapping and like hey. And I just feel like our form of communication, there are other forms of communication that are more beneficial to get a message across than others. And yeah, and I feel like with podcasts where you can kind of have an open discussion about games and things like that and people's perspectives, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, honestly. Um, so Poison Maniac said, "Are you gonna be able to do it as 3-bit after the showcase?" I think so. I think how it's gonna go, probably we're gonna have the showcase. I forgot what time it is, but we're gonna have a showcase. We'll probably have our thoughts about it afterwards. It's probably gonna be pretty long, and then maybe either that day or the day after, I'll have a Ask 3-bit just to kind of think about what we just saw and talk about what I'm in hiding. Um, what I've known. Maybe I can talk about that after the show. Um, so I'll probably do something like that. Talk about what I've known this entire time. Could probably talk about it after the showcase. I will wait for augmented reality until it hits the point of Tony Stark's glasses. And Jose said, I remember that article. Yeah, I remember just learning about it. Like if you're talking about the article where forms of communication has changed over time, it's just interesting. It's interesting. We as a society have changed. Like our brain chemicals have changed too, because we could barely sit in a theater for like 2 hours. But back in the day, you used to watch like 5 hour movies with intermissions and stuff like that. You used to take a break, come back, watch a movie. Now, we can't do that anymore. I always find that stuff fascinating because, I don't know. I like to direct and animate and do stuff like that. So, but anyways, I'm gonna get ready for this FSP show. Get something to eat. But for the next Ask 3-Bit, what I will do is see what Mav is up to. Maybe I'll invite him for a one-on-one. Maybe we'll just talk about games. This is supposed to be like a more relaxed show. Chill, talk about whatever's on my mind. I have some topics usually in mind, but then I just like to kind of go off the cuff and spin it off into branches of conversation. But I appreciate you guys all for dropping by. Poison Maniac, Kate even dropped by, Mav, Jose, all you guys. Thank you guys for dropping in. Can't do it every week, but I'm going to try to do this more sporadically. It's just I just can't. It's my job. Sometimes my job just gets chaotic. So don't look for it every Wednesday, but I'll still try to do it every week if I can. All right. Love y'all. Gonna be on FSP at 10 o'clock. So just drop by. Check us out on there. We're gonna have a great show. It's gonna be me, Jasper, Mav, obviously, and Psycho. I think he's feeling under the weather, but hopefully he gets to make it there. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for dropping by.